Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, and more specifically, I want to zoom in here to the hourly chart and discuss a pattern that I've been watching here on Bitcoin for the past couple of days. I want to talk about this head and shoulders pattern right here that we can see forming on Bitcoin, and whether or not this is actually going to cause a crash on Bitcoin from it rejecting in between around $9,300 and $9,400. If Bitcoin crashes here or if Bitcoin rallies here is going to be determined in the next couple of days based on how this pattern plays out. So I want to go ahead and analyze this and see if Bitcoin's going to properly reject here, or if even despite this pattern that we're going to be able to continue rallying, continue moving to the upside, maybe up to $10,000 and even higher. I've got a lot that I want to show you on the Bitcoin chart, guys, but we're also going to be doing quite a bit of altcoin TA after that. I want to talk about some things on the Ethereum chart, the XRP chart, the Litecoin chart, and the EOS chart. So guys, we have a pretty full roster today. We have a lot to get into, but before we get on into it, I do want to plug the like button, guys. I have been in the hospital a lot lately. I've had some routine stuff to deal with. I'm perfectly fine. No need to worry, but I haven't seen the like button in there, and I want to fix that. So guys, smash that like button, give the doctor some money, let him go visit. And also before we jump on into it, I want to go ahead and mention that we are still going to be running that sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. You guys are loving the course right now. We've had dozens of you guys join in the last 48 hours. So I'm going to be going ahead and extending this to Friday because you guys seem to be loving it. I want to give you guys a couple more days to jump on in with that discount if you are interested. Link is in the description. More on that at the end of the video. But anyway, guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. The first thing I want to do is a shorter term recap of where Bitcoin is at the moment. Of course, one thing I want to point out as well is that we're looking at a shorter term inverse head and shoulders pattern here on Bitcoin, but it's actually not a very large head and shoulders pattern. I'm going to do kind of all the caveats up front, and then I'm going to talk about the head and shoulders because at the end of the day, I think Bitcoin is still going to be bullish here, but this is something you need to understand. Bitcoin is having a relatively short-term head and shoulders pattern right here, which means that the trajectory that it would put it on would be relatively short-lived as well. So Bitcoin having a 2 or 3 day head and shoulders pattern right here means that we probably see at most $1,000 correction from it because it's not a very large head and shoulders pattern, so it's not going to cause a very large movement. That's just the nature of these things. And one thing I also want to point out is that Bitcoin was moving into a head and shoulders pattern right here. And guess what? We didn't. The shoulder just turned into a new rally. So there's actually a chance that Bitcoin could just reject off of this level of support and continue moving to the upside, even though by all measures you would think that Bitcoin might have a bit of a correction here. You have to remember, Bitcoin has been in a bull market for only 2 months. People are very excited, and people are kind of just ignoring the bears right now. They're over cowering in a corner, just being completely ignored. The bulls are going crazy, starting this rally, continuing the bull market, and getting really excited for the next couple of years, guys. That's why I keep plugging the CT2As, because I want you guys to learn these markets so you can make the most out of them when the time comes, and the time is now. So guys, with the caveats out of the way and me making sure that you understand that this isn't the end of the world or anything, let's go ahead and dive on into this head and shoulders pattern. What does it mean? Where is it taking Bitcoin? And is it even going to play out? Well, guys, I think it's very easy to see why this looks like a head and shoulders pattern. At the same time, this is a relatively short shoulder, but also what we see is that Bitcoin is trading up here as $9,400, and we also have this uptrend of support. So even though you can call this a head and shoulders pattern, it also kind of just looks like Bitcoin is bouncing around in between these moving averages, in between these trend lines, excuse me. One thing that does concern me, and this is bearish for Bitcoin, is the fact that Bitcoin over the last couple of days has been trading against the support side of this trading channel rather than the resistance side of this trading channel. As you can see here, that is what's been going on. We've been trading on the support side, not the resistance side. And as I've talked about with consolidation patterns and trend lines and anything having to do with support or resistance, if Bitcoin is trading closer to its support than to its resistance, it's more likely that it's going to break the support, and vice versa for resistance. And this is a prime example of that. Bitcoin is sitting just above its level of support, and that does indicate that we may see a break of that. If we do, it's probably not going to be major. Bitcoin may pull down to like $8,500 or so. There's some support lines that we can look at. I'm not going to dive into it because I'm not totally convinced that we're going to see a pullback. If we do, it's probably going to be about $400 in size at the absolute largest. One thing I do want to point out as well is that here on the daily MACD, we're looking at a little bit of convergence on the MACD, bearish convergence. We can see that this histogram bar is actually smaller than this one right next to it. So we're seeing that these lines are starting to converge a little bit, and that does indicate that we may see a bearish cross in the next couple of days. But if Bitcoin does actually continue to rally here, then that's going to be corrected. Nothing really to write home about. Guys, Bitcoin is acting rather indecisive right now. We're trading sideways, but also you have to keep in mind that even though the technical indicators are telling us bullish things, and bearish things. We just entered a bull market. And one mistake that I and a lot of analysts as well have been making over the last couple of weeks and the last couple of months is predicting that Bitcoin is going to be a little bit more bearish than we think. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we were in a bear market for a year and a half. So our compass was set to a bearish inclination. So we have to be able to adjust for that and adjust our compasses and recalibrate them so that we're more bullish and less bearish, because the market is more bullish and less bearish. So even though the market's rather indecisive right now, when the market is indecisive in a bull market, that actually means that the market's more likely to break bullish than bearish. And I think this is an example of that. Bitcoin may have a small correction here because we've rallied so far. Bitcoin has had such a large rally here over these last couple of weeks. Bitcoin has rallied 25%. That's not gigantic, but it is definitely significant. Bitcoin may have a couple of days of correction here, but in the end of the day, I think we're still on track to $10,000. I don't think anything's going to stop the Bitcoin train now, especially with what we've seen happen here in June with this major rally that we've seen in the last 10 days or so. Very, very exciting stuff. Definitely reinvigorated any of the bulls that were feeling weary. I think the future for Bitcoin is looking very bright here over these next couple of months and also over the next couple of years. Now, with that all out of the way, I actually thought we were going to spend a little bit more time on Bitcoin, but that's all we needed to discuss in today's video. I do want to go ahead and dive on into the altcoin technical analysis, because a couple of these altcoins I haven't talked about in months, one of them being Ethereum. I am a very big fan of Ethereum. I think it really started paving the way for decentralized applications and for everything that Ethereum does. I'm not going to get into all the technology right now, but I am a fan of Ethereum, and I'm a fan of a lot of projects similar to it. I like the idea of building infrastructure around a cryptocurrency so that instead of just using the cryptocurrency as a currency, you can start using the currency and the blockchain underlying it as the foundation for other things. That's why one of the things I really like investing in is not currencies like Litecoin and Bitcoin. I think those are very good, but a lot of these altcoin currencies, why would anyone use them when you have something like Bitcoin or Litecoin? They may be better, they may have faster block times, they may have cheaper fees, but not enough to really be competitive. But something like Ethereum or other platforms like Neo or a lot of these other newer ones, EOS is another example that we'll be looking at here. I'm a very big fan of them because they're building infrastructure, and that infrastructure is going to have things built on top of it. So you're not only investing in the infrastructure, you're also investing in everything that's built on top of it, which means that there's a lot more room to grow in this kind of sector. So with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and do some more altcoin technical analysis on Ethereum. One of the things I want to point out is here on the daily chart, and that is that I'm actually starting to get pretty bullish on Ethereum. I want to show you something on Litecoin. A couple weeks ago, Litecoin, not a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago actually, Litecoin started going very, very bullish. And one thing that you see on a lot of these altcoin charts is this level of support right here. On Litecoin, it's sitting at around $110. On Ethereum, it's sitting right around $400. Right here is very analogous. It looks very similar. You see a similar thing on XRP, wherever my XRP is, there it is. On XRP, you see this similar line right here. And a lot of these levels of resistance are very important for starting rallies. And Ethereum, for example, is sitting right below that level of support. If you look at the Litecoin chart and you were to overlay it here on the Ethereum chart, this is what Litecoin looked like about 2 months ago. And you guys know what Litecoin has been doing. Litecoin's been going absolutely crazy. Do you see what I'm talking about? It looks like a very similar chart, except it looks like it's just about 2 months behind. I think that there's a lot of room for Ethereum to run, and I think the altcoins are about to start doing very well over the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months, because I think they're going to start going parabolic like Bitcoin is. And I'm looking for an entry on Ethereum right now, a long-term swing trade on Ethereum. We're looking at kind of kind of a head and shoulders pattern right here, but I don't think that's going to actually play out. Ethereum's sitting above its 20 EMA. It's about to turn bullish on the MACD. We already have the cross. We're seeing a lot of good things happen on Ethereum, and I think this is a good altcoin to get into on a swing trade. I'm going to be personally doing that. Of course, I'm not telling you to do that. That is up to you. This is not financial advice. Don't go suing me or anything. Of course, you know all that mumbo jumbo and legalese and jargon and whatnot. Anyway, some of these altcoins, I don't have a whole lot that I want to talk about. I just want to point out that I think they are starting to become good investment vehicles. I think that Ethereum right here is going to be very strong as it continues to move up towards $400. And once it breaks there, of course, it's going to continue moving to the upside more than likely. If we break it, we'll continue moving to the upside in a very strong manner. If we reject, we'll probably end up breaking it a couple months later anyway. So I'm looking forward to getting some Ethereum. Right after I finish this video, actually, I'm going to start going in and doing a lot more detailed TA on this, trying to find a good entry point and seeing what kind of confirmations I want to be looking for to get on into a position. From here, guys, let's go ahead and dive on into XRP. Similar story on XRP, guys. Is sitting right under some important level, some important support, important resistance, excuse me. Right around 45 cents on XRP is a major level of resistance. XRP has come up here and tested this level over and over and over again, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And you guys know what I say about testing a level of resistance multiple times. When you do that, it's more likely that you're going to break it. And if XRP continues to come up and test this, I'm looking for a break of 45 cents. I'm probably going to put a buy order up here around like 47.50. and wait for XRP to go up there, try to get above all these wicks so I don't have to worry too much about that. Get some XRP for the long term, because XRP obviously has moon potential. We've seen it in the past, and we can see it again. XRP is trading pretty much exactly where it was back over here in 2017 before we had this gigantic rally. I actually remember back over here when XRP was rallying. I had some family members watching, reading the news, and they were reading about XRP doing all these crazy gains, and they're like, you know, XRP's up to $3 now, Jeb. You should go ahead and buy some of that. And they were literally talking about right here. And I was like, I'm going to not do that because I don't want to lose a bunch of money. So, no, I'm not going to buy XRP because that's going to crash like a rock. And guess what happened? It crashed like a rock. And I told them, like, that would have been a horrible idea. That's why you don't take that's why you don't take financial advice from people unless they really know what they're talking about. And even then, always make sure that you agree with their rationale and always agree with their logic. You have to be able to sleep with yourself at the end of the night. Anyway, moving on here, let's go ahead and talk about EOS. I don't have a whole lot to update you on with EOS, although I do want to point out how well the US dollar chart is. We have a very strong uptrend right here. But EOS over Bitcoin is what I'm looking at. I like trading over the Bitcoin charts when I can and when there's patterns on them, because I prefer growing my portfolio in standards of Bitcoin rather than US dollars. I'm much more interested in how much Bitcoin I have than US dollars, which is why I've never really cared when a crash happens. It just allows me to buy more Bitcoin for the USD that I do have. But one thing I talked about in a previous video, and I want to mention again, is my position in EOS. I did go ahead and buy this position even though EOS hasn't properly bounced yet, because I have a pretty tight stop loss. I think the stop loss is around exactly 70,000 Satoshis. It might be 72,000. I don't remember exactly. But I'm expecting that over the next couple of days that there's a decent chance that EOS will have a bounce here and start moving up towards this downtrend of resistance again. Since we're covering so much, I'm not going to get too much into that, but I will go ahead and point out that if EOS does have a bounce here, we will have a bit of a rally on the MACD. We can see that there has been some green here recently, which is very good for the MACD. We're having some bullish convergence on the MACD. There's a couple more things I can get into. There's not a whole lot here. I'm basically just playing off of this chart pattern right here. A lot of times people think, okay, well, I need 30 different technical indicators to tell me. Sometimes you can make a trade off of one or two. Right now, I'm making this trade off of EOS based on the chart, based on the MACD, and based on my gut feeling, which we teach in this video right here. Very simple stuff. You don't have to get into a crap ton of technical analysis to make a bunch of money in this market. You don't have to overly complicate it. You don't have to have 50 moving averages up and 17 oscillators at the bottom of the screen to understand what the market is doing. You can really trade this market in a lot more simple terms than that. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of just protecting myself with like a 2% loss stop loss, and then a very, very large margin for profit. This is over 20% potential profit should EOS do what I think there's a decent chance it will do. So even if it doesn't, it's not that big a deal. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and move on to Litecoin. Rapid fire TA. I love it. We're going to go ahead and look at Litecoin here because Litecoin is actually kind of doing what I was expecting it to do a couple days ago. If you remember me doing technical analysis on this, I was talking about a bullish breakout on Litecoin, and now it has actually started. You can see that we'd had to readjust our trend lines a couple times, but that technical analysis that I was talking about did turn out to be valid. Litecoin has had a bullish breakout, albeit it's not a very large one, and I'm probably not even going to trade this now, to be honest, because I don't know what it's going to do here. It's a little bit harder to trade this than it would have been the breakout of the consolidation pattern. There's plenty of things that I can do with this. I could buy a position and put a tight stop loss and see if I can make some gains with Litecoin rallying and something like a swing trade out here on the 4-hourly or the daily chart. But right now, I'm not going to get into Litecoin. I think it's very overextended on the daily chart, and I think we should have a pullback down here to around $110 and have a little bit of a correction. I like that Litecoin is continuing to break bullish, even though it's been this overextended for a long time, and that it's continuing to rally. I like Litecoin as a project, and I'm going to be looking for more investment opportunities in the next coming days, in the next coming months, excuse me, should Litecoin have big corrections. Right now, though, I'm going to skip out on this trade and look at some of the other ones that I've talked about in today's video and other ones that I haven't. Anyway, guys, we got through a lot of technical analysis in a very quick fashion, so I'm not going to continue the video on much longer and waste any more of your time. I think we've covered a whole lot in today's video, so tell me in the comment section down below if you enjoyed today's video. Did you enjoy the content? Do you agree with the technical analysis? Do you disagree? Do you think Bitcoin is going to be able to break bullish and ignore this head and shoulders pattern and rally to $10,000? And if so, will it break it? Or do you think Bitcoin's about to have a correction? And if so, where do you think it's going? Do you think it's coming down to support around $8,200 that I haven't talked about in today's video? $6,800, $6,000? Do you still think Bitcoin's going to go down to $3,400, guys? I've been seeing that in the comment section a lot, or $4,300. And I always told you guys I don't think that's going to happen, or $1,300 like some people said. Where do you think Bitcoin is going, and what do you think of this altcoin technical analysis? Would you like me to continue doing altcoin TA on one or two altcoins at the end of these videos like I did in today's video? I can keep that up. No big deal. I love doing altcoin TA because sometimes the Bitcoin market doesn't have everything that I need to fill up a video, so we have to do some, we have to find some stuff to talk about. But anyway, guys, before we wrap the video up, I do want to remind you to go ahead and destroy that like button. I want you to go down there, hit that like button, and then I want you to hit again, and then I want you to hit it again. And also, if you don't like the video, what I want you to do is, if you dislike the video, I want you to go down into the comment section, into the description. I want you to hit the dislike button twice so that I know that you didn't like the video. Go down there, hit it once, it'll turn blue, and then hit it again, and then I'll know that you really didn't like the video. Anyway, guys, like I said, that's going to wrap it up for today's video, but I do want to remind you that we are still running that sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, and like I said, I'm going to be extending this through Friday. You guys seem to be really enjoying this. We've had a couple dozen of you join in the last 48 hours, and it's always humbling to see you guys joining the course and loving the course. I love getting emails from you guys about the course. I love getting success stories about the course. I love when you guys give me testimonials about the course. I love talking to you about your trades and what you guys are doing with the course. I love having that community. And guys, I'm getting moved into this house. I have some medical stuff I'm dealing with. Like I said, I'm fine. It's routine stuff. It's just a lot. I'm going to be working on a lot of other projects around the course. We're going to be getting some, we're going to be doing some more regular live streams coming up soon. I have a whole lot of plans for the channel, guys. We're about to start doing some craziness, but give me a little bit of time. It's going to take a little bit. I'm actually in the process of hiring an editor right now. I just talked to them yesterday about that. It's actually a friend of mine, so it's going to be relatively easy for that to get set up, but they'll actually be helping me with that. Say hi to the editor. I'll tell you their name later if they want me to. Anyway, guys, like I said, if you were looking to learn how to do technical analysis, CT2A is the place to do it. Guys, we don't have a whole lot of time here. Bitcoin is going to be in a bull market for 2, maybe 3 years. You don't want to waste your time spending the next year learning all of the things that are in this course over half the length of this bull market. If you spend the next year trying to learn this content, you are more than welcome to do that. I will not berate you in any way, shape, or form for doing that, but I don't think that's the wisest usage of your time and money. Instead of doing that, you can go down into the description down below, hit the link below, use the $40 off coupon, June 2019, join the course, and this time next week, you can be much better at technical analysis, understand how to read these charts, understand what a lot of the secrets are, understand what a lot of the things that I don't talk about in YouTube videos, and a lot of other analysts don't talk about in YouTube videos. Most of them don't, basically all of them don't talk about a lot of this stuff in YouTube videos, because there's no reason to, and there's no point, and it's stuff that's subconscious, or it's stuff that's just not really mentioned. It's stuff that's kind of just a muscle memory, so we don't even really think about it as analysts. It's stuff that you need to know, though, and it's stuff that you have to learn the hard way, or you have to spend a whole lot of time and realize what's good. When you're learning all this information, you're going to have a ton of items thrown at you. You're going to have a ton of information thrown at you, and you got to cherry pick what's good and bad. And that's relatively easy for someone who knows what they're doing, like me. But if you're in the market and you're just starting to learn, and you don't know what's important and what's not, it's a lot harder to tell what's crap and what's useful, and what's important and what's not. And that's a very important thing that is going to take you a very long time to figure out. So instead of spending the next 1,000 hours of your life in the next year and a ton of money trading Bitcoin when you may not know exactly what you're doing and you don't know enough to be profitable, because the vast majority of traders are not profitable, instead of doing that, you can invest in something like your education, move forward, and actually know what you're doing, learn how to analyze these markets, learn how to trade these markets, learn how to invest in these markets, and also, most importantly, learn how to profit in these markets. So guys, this sale is going to be running on through the end of Friday. So if you're interested, the link is in the description. Use the coupon code June 2019, $40 off. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.